And without further ado or discussing about that, we're now heading into the map. So, spawning down in the lower left, oddly enough playing as a barcode, which is almost even funnier as he's playing against somebody whose official Chobo Team League name is listed as barcode. We have Unique. No, wait, this is the barcode. This is the guy listed as barcode for Outset Gaming. And playing under an account name by the name of Leatherbook, we have a man who's listed as Unique in his official Chobo Team League listing, playing for Vortex eSports. The barcode playing for Outset Gaming. This is our Diamond 8s match. Here at the Chobo Team League this week between Vortex and Outset. This is last week's games. These are indeed cast from replays. As these can happen literally any time during the week, we are allowed to schedule our games whenever we want to. And I do say we because I am in fact a member of Vortex eSports. I play as a Silver League player for them. As a Zerg. However, I didn't get to play this week, this last week, the week these matches are from. I actually got a free win because my opponent had some internet connection issues and was not able to attend. So we see a hatch first out of Unique / Leatherbook up in the north. Sending out a drone to scout as well as those first overlords. Interesting, the drone goes to the Zelnaga watchtower and then heads back. This overlord is just about to confirm where the location of the Terran base. We see a Reaper opening out of our barcode player. So everything looking pretty typical so far. It's like Reaper expand for our Terran barcode player and a hatch first build, which is extremely typical against Terran. In fact, there's almost no way a Terran can really punish a hatch first without cheese. Out of Unique. This first Reaper starting to head across the map. We'll watch his progress a little. Guess follow command isn't working properly. Yeah, it's right, I heard about that from Riff. Anyway. So we have this Reaper, firing at nothing useful for the moment, but at least confirming the hatch first. This Reaper really should be heading up into the base trying to actually destroy some drones, but now that that drone is popped, he actually will get this free, nearly free drone kill. But actually, a nice little micro trick out of Unique, morphing the drone into an extractor to save it. He did lose one drone to this little harass, but... No, actually, he still hasn't lost the drone yet. He's canceled the extractor. Now there are two Reapers up here. But with the Queens out, they're really not going to get that much done. And so far, some nice micro. And Zerk being in just the right place to almost catch one of those Reapers who's got, like, 1 health left. Yeah. So, pretty good defense against the early Reaper harass for Unique. But in the meantime, behind that harass, our barcode player does indeed have up his second base. Already getting down a third command center. And a third base going down for Unique. Reapers aren't going to really do much. They have almost no DPS. They're not going to do anything against a base like that. And with nothing really out on the field other than those Reapers and a few Hellions on the way. Hellions also not known for their DPS except against light targets. I don't think he's really going to be able to do much about that third base other than perhaps prevent all the drones from doing anything. But yeah, we see the typical early Reaper Hellion harass out of our Terran player. Why is it typical? Because it works. It's very good to kill off drones and lings early on when you're facing a Zerg player. But with that stim pack on the way, we know that our Terran is indeed headed for the very typical bio composition. Taking the Zelnaga Watchtower and a pile of map control with his little harassment force, our barcode player. Looks like he's going to go try to harass this little force at third base. He might be able to get this queen, but mostly just ends up losing a Hellion, and I don't even think he got any lings there. Maybe one or two. Pretty even exchange, but still a little bit on the better side for Unique. In the meantime, he's added on a few more Hellions and getting a bit of a at least partial wall off here at his natural. At third CC, currently being morphed into an orbital, but not being set down as a base yet. Stim pack just about to finish, 1-1, about halfway done for both players. Very similar upgrade timing. The Zerg's upgrade timing is a little bit faster. And our Zerg player also has his lair on the way. As well as what appears to be another hatchery. Yes, his fourth hatchery is just now started. In the meantime, that Overlord that was hanging out scouting looks like it's going to go down to a Marine. But that's not going to supply block Unique at all. He's got a few more Overlords to spare, frankly. So, little bit of a pickup, but not really anything meaningful for our barcode player. Still, both players just mostly focusing on building up their economy, not really doing very well at harassing each other. A barcode player might be well served to actually repair these Hellions. I mean, this Hellion has almost no health. He's still just kind of hanging out with the rest of his group and not having been repaired, having literally been back in a base for ages. Hey, yeah, part of the reason I do these games is to help point out the little mistakes to the players when they do watch them. So remember to repair your Hellions next time, man. Still a pretty good play out of both players so far, just building up their economy. Pretty good Overlord spread by Unique, getting pretty good map vision. In fact, his Overlord speed just finished, which is why he feels confident in spreading all those Overlords. His 2-2 has just started. Our Terran has not yet started 2-2, after 1-1 having finished his armory not having been completed, and so not able to start 2-2 yet. The armory is mostly done, but looks like our Zerg player is going to have a mild upgrade advantage, which he may well use to his severe advantage. Centrifugal Hook's just about to finish. That's Baneling speed, for those who aren't aware of all of the names, and a number of Zerglings on the way. So, having mostly droned up his bases and gotten his economy running, it looks like Unique is about ready to start getting an army together. His Spire also on the way, that lair having finished. Still hasn't really morphed any Banes yet, but, well, that makes perfect sense. He hasn't really seen much from the Terran yet. But all these Marines and Hellions and a few Reapers heading out onto the map, it would do very well for him to have some Banes, and there you see 9 Banes morphing in. They might not morph quite fast enough, though, as these Hellions are arriving a little bit before or Unique kind of wants them to. But the Terran force drops back, a few Widow Mines burrowing to give them something to fall back onto if they start to fight on creep and try to fight against the creep. Taking down a few creep tumors. More Banes being morphed in for Unique, as it looks like we are going to have a real engagement on our hands. But mostly just posturing and creep tumors being taken out, though. That one Bane being cancelled and morphed a little bit far forward. This Queen may not be long for this world if he doesn't choose to defend it, but he does choose to defend it, sending out his Zerglings and Banelings to try to take out these Hellions and Marines. Zergling's doing a number on the Hellions and the Bane's doing a number on the Marines. That's a pretty good engagement here for Leatherbook. Unique. He does seem to have lost a few more resources in it, but I see those Widow Mines got some pretty good hits. So, pretty even so far for both of our players. A little more army supply for a Terran player. But a number of Zerglings and the first Mutalisks being morphed in behind this. So one of the problems our Zerg player has is having nothing to deal with these medevacs. So at this point, the medevacs completely uncontested gives the Terran player some pretty good healing. Canceling a few of these Banelings as they're trying to morph in. More and more Zerglings being produced by Unique. Now 50 Zerglings in the queue for just a moment there. That is a lot of Zerglings going much more heavy into the ground army than into those Mutalisks. Pretty good Baneling hits there. And with these Widow Mines not doing all that much damage, it's looking like Unique has pushed back our Terran Barcode player. Still has no answer to the medevacs, but that ground army is doing some work. The Barcode player being pushed all the way back into his base. Barcode gets an Overlord for free as he actually pushes Unique back onto Creep. As Widow Mine's still hiding there and hanging out. More Banes being morphed in, and the Mutaflock is continuing to slowly grow. +1 air attack on the way for those Mutas, and Drilling Claws on the way, as well as +3 weapon attack for our Terran player. Both players currently at 2-2, but our Zerg without Hive Tech is not able to go to 3-3 just yet. Our Terran player getting a number of Zerglings for pretty much free, as those Mutas not coming forward to deal with those medevacs, leaving the medevacs able to heal the Marines much quicker than they can take damage with the full Zerg army moves forward, taking down a number of Marines with these Zerglings and Banelings. And the Mutas finally come to join the fight, starting to take out those medevacs. Ground force pretty much done. Medevacs boosting away, trying to get away from these Mutas. Mutas getting a few medevacs before dropping back. At the moment, it's still a very even game. A minor supply lead for our Zerg player, but still very close all in all. Now, what's very interesting is that for once we see a Zerg player with a huge gas bank. You don't really see that very often, but that's probably because as our Zerg player Unique has been using such heavy Zergling play and not as much with the Mutas. Another engagement going on here in the center of the map. The Marines and Zerglings trading pretty evenly at first, but them Banelings, man, those are some pretty good Baneling hits. And with an Overseer to finally take down those Widow Mines, a number of Widow Mines also go down for our Terran player. Zerg player taking a little bit better of a engagement there and continuing to move forward into the third base of our Terran player. Pretty good at SimCity, allowing our Terran player to repair the base for a while, but he ends up losing a number of SCVs for it. His Marines not there quite fast enough to deal with the Zergling threat. The SCVs now running away. Well, actually, they're now getting back in position as the Zerglings run away from these Marines. Just raw Zerglings aren't going to really deal with those Marines, especially with 2-2 even on both sides. The trade is much better for the Marines. A number of Banelings being morphed in almost right next to these Marines, but he doesn't see it, so he doesn't know that if he stemmed forward right now, it would be a really good idea. But he's going to stem forward anyway and catch a lot of these Banes still morphing. The Zerglings try to cover for their Banelings that are trying to morph in, and do cover just long enough for the Banelings to come out. Banelings rolling forward, or bowling right through most of these Marines as the Zerglings are almost all cleaned up by the Marines behind it, but the Banelings clean up a lot of the Marines. Well, that's going on. I got a small drop going on down at Unique's 4th here. Got a number of drone kills before being cleaned up. Let's see what the drone kill count is at this point. He's gotten 8 drones. I think most of them actually from that attack though. Whereas 15 workers went down for our Terran barcode player earlier. So he gets another few Banelings morphing for free. More Banelings and Zerglings rolling in to try to deal with these Marines. Still pretty even engagements going on. Those Banelings are able to finish up. And the Muta's coming forward to help try to deal with these medevacs as the Terran army currently on creep is just getting a little bit overwhelmed. Muta's taking down medevacs as the rest of the Terran army is being taken down by Zergs and Banes. Looks like Leatherbook is taking the advantage here, and still with a massive gas bank. It's very surprising for a Zerg player to see the gas bank get that high. Usually you see Zerg players using their gas almost as soon as they get it to make more Mutas, especially in this matchup. So now with his production camped, it's looking pretty dire for our barcode player. Multiple tech labs and reactors going down, as well as one barracks going down. Now his remaining forces do push back these Mutas and Zerglings for the moment, but our Zerg player is now up 65 supply, trying to take what could be referred to as a ninja base, although it actually is the next base. That's a supreme base distance between the one possible third base here on Yansu. It's really, and Frost I mean, it's really tough to take a third base on Frost, because, well, a fourth base. Your first 3 are pretty easy, but for a fourth base you've either got this one, which is really hard to defend, or this one, which is way the heck over here. Anyway, so we've got a little Terran squad moving out onto the middle of the map, a number of Zerglings and Banelings, more Banelings morphing in over here, and the Muta's just kind of hanging out over here where that fourth base is trying to go down for a barcode player. Another little engagement going on down here. Seems to be going a little bit better for the Terran player, able to kite those Banelings and take down a few Banelings things pretty easy, but those Zerglings enough to finish them off, as well as the Mutas joining in. Our Zerg player is still up about 50 supply. Now moving in, and our barcode player GG's out. He's probably just about out of mineable resources at this point, yeah. That'll be it for the first game of our Diamond match, but these Diamond Ace matches are best of 3s. So we're actually going to head right into Game 2.